Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest TV Translator Association.
If you have a news topic or event you'd like to see covered, give us a call. The studio number is 677-4119.
Today's show runs Thursday at noon, 3 and 6 p.m. and again is re-aired later throughout the weekend with the other weekday broadcast replays. Today's March 1st, 2018, Rabbit, and now the news at noon.
According to the Durango Herald, Archuleta County Commissioners have filed a petition with the Colorado Supreme Court seeking a mandate that would require all court proceedings to return to the Archuleta County Courthouse. The 56-page petition was filed last week on behalf of the citizens of Archuleta County, said Commissioner Steve Wadley. The 6th Judicial District vacated the Archuleta County Courthouse in September, citing health concerns. Chief District Judge Jeffrey Wilson ordered all courthouse proceedings to be moved to the La Plata County Courthouse after multiple employees in the courthouse reported health problems. 2 sheriff's deputies passed out inside the building and 3 deputies were admitted to the intensive care units. An environmental study paid for by the judicial branch found air quality levels to be within acceptable standards, but it recommended employees avoid returning to the building after complaints of eye irritation, sinus issues, coughing, and fatigue. Archuleta County contracted a separate air quality test that found no hazards inside the courthouse, declaring the facility safe to occupy in October. The 6th Judicial District and County Commissioners have been at odds over the location of judicial operations for months.
From the Journal, on Wednesday, a Cortez resident who allegedly caused a high-profile police action 3 weeks ago was granted permission to travel out of state. Charles Head was arrested February 5th, about 14 hours after Cortez police sent out an alert saying he was armed and posed a significant threat to his neighborhood on Balsam Street. He was released the same day but was charged February 14th with menacing, third-degree assault, and a prohibited use of a weapon. On Wednesday, Montezuma County Court Judge Jenny Lynn Lawrence granted a request from his attorney to waive several of the conditions of his pretrial release. Head has been accused of assaulting and threatening his wife, Cynthia Head, as well as possessing firearms while intoxicated. Upon his initial release, Lawrence ordered him to turn over all guns and weapons in his home and issued a non-harassing contact protection order for his wife. Head was also ordered to undergo a mental health evaluation and counseling and was prohibited from drinking alcohol or traveling out of Colorado. On Wednesday, Lawrence agreed to waive the last requirement after Head's attorney said his job requires him to travel. He also said Cynthia Head had asked that her husband be allowed to continue working. The prosecutor, Deputy District Attorney Matthew Margeson, said he did not consider Head a flight risk because he had no previous criminal record. Lawrence also agreed to let Head take sobriety tests through his job instead of through Montezuma County's pretrial services department, but she said he must remain enrolled in counseling through Access Health System. Head's next court appearance will be a disposition hearing scheduled for March 21st at 2:30 p.m.
Reported by the Durango Herald, concerns about safety are leading Durango School District 9R Superintendent Dan Snowberger to recommend that parents discourage their children's participation in a national student walkout about gun violence in schools. A widespread movement on social media is encouraging students across the country to walk out of their schools at 10 a.m. March 14th to show support for ending gun violence at schools. Snowberger said he is particularly concerned because the time and date for the walkout are being widely publicized online, and that gives anyone who might plan to harm students knowledge about when they will be vulnerable. Student safety has to be first and foremost on our minds, Snowberger said. He added that school officials are discussing alternatives with safe activities within school grounds for students to still be able to participate. One idea is to hold an assembly for students to discuss the issue. Other ideas would be to encourage a student to talk for 17 minutes with a student who has been ostracized, or to hold a 17-second moment of silence to honor the 17 people killed February 14th at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Snowberger said student discussions about a walkout have occurred at Durango High School and also at the middle schools. Survivors of the Florida shooting have been active since the shooting, holding rallies, being interviewed by national media, and organizing a bus trip to the Florida State Capitol to meet the lawmakers to call for legal measures to end gun violence on school campuses.
From the Journal, on Tuesday, February 27th, the Cortez City Council started the process of updating the city building codes. The council voted unanimously, with member Jill Carlson absent, to approve the first reading of 11 ordinances that would adopt rules in compliance with the 2015 version of the International Building Codes and repeal older rules that conflict with that version. Planning and Building Director Sam Proffer said most of the changes were designed to make it easier and cheaper for homeowners to build and remodel. All the ordinances will go before the council for a final vote during public hearings on March 13th. The ordinances are the result of almost a year of work by the Planning and Building Department, which started with open meetings for local contractors and developers in April. The city's building codes have not been updated since 2009, and Proffer said a few regulations from as long ago as the 1960s are still on the books. In addition to updating the relevant code, each ordinance repeals all previous regulations that would conflict with the updates. Many of the proposed changes are as small as changing the title of a section or changing a generic placeholder name to City of Cortez. The city's Energy Conservation Code will stay in compliance with the 2009 International Code, except for a few outdated sections which will be repealed. Proffer said he didn't expect the building code or its fellow regulations to cause too much trouble for residents. The codes being updated this year include the city's fuel gas code, the mechanic code, plumbing, property maintenance, energy conservation, usable buildings and facilities, building, fire, existing building, residential, and electric. The council passed each ordinance on first reading with very little discussion. They will be discussed in more detail during the public hearings.
According to the Durango Herald, a northern Colorado sheriff is proposing a program that places an armed marshal in each public school in his county. The Steamboat Pilot and Today reports Routt County Sheriff Garrett Wiggins is planning meetings with school district officials to open discussions on a program that would place a marshal in each of the county's 11 school buildings. The sheriff estimates that his marshal program would cost about $1.26 million each year. Wiggins says the school marshals would dress in plain clothes. They would work for the sheriff's office or other local law enforcement agencies. Wiggins says the marshals would focus only on campus safety and security. He says he wants to bring the issue before local taxpayers so they have a voice in finding a solution for school security. And now let's take a look at the weather.
The National Weather Map, courtesy of NOAA with data from Raytheon Technology, shows a high-pressure system across the middle of the country, keeping things dry and clear for the immediate forecast. The storm system from the Pacific is bringing in snow and possibly heavy snow to Nevada, Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and Northern California, while rain and thunderstorms settle over the entire west coastal line. Back east, two low-pressure systems are keeping rains and thunderstorms over the southern and mid-Atlantic states, while heavy snows are on tap for northern Pennsylvania, New York State, and a nor'easter could bring in a lot of moisture and energy and high winds that could exceed 60 miles an hour around Boston. Regionally, a few showers will fall over northern portions of the forecast area today, but there'll be little more than sprinkles. Partly to mostly clear skies are expected as temperatures remain warm. The next chance for any accumulating precipitation looks to be Sunday as a cold front moves through the region. The big news for our region will be that at long last the GOES-S launch is scheduled for today, March 1st. Live coverage is available on nasa.gov online. Standing for Geostationary Operational Environmental Satellite S, the unit has a 2-hour launch window at Cape Canaveral. Once the satellite is declared operational later this year, it will occupy NOAA's GOES West position and says that it will provide faster, more accurate data for tracking wildfires, tropical cyclones, fog, and other storm systems and hazards that threaten the western United States. The DCTV 5-day forecast, notable days are Thursday and Friday winds and then possible snow coming up on Sunday. So today, increasing clouds with a high near 46 degrees. South winds 10 to 15 miles an hour with gusts as high as 30 miles an hour. Tonight, cloudy during the early evening and then gradual clearing with a low around 29 degrees. South-southeast winds around 10 miles an hour. Friday, sunny with a high near 53 degrees, breezy with a south wind 15 to 20 miles an hour with gusts to 35 miles an hour. Friday night, mostly clear with a low around 30 degrees, south winds 10 to 15. Saturday, sunny with a high near 53 degrees, breezy with a south-southwest wind 15 to 25 miles an hour with gusts as high as 35. Saturday night, some scattered snow showers might come into our area after 11 p.m. Mostly cloudy with a low around 31 degrees, still breezy, and that chance of precipitation is just 30% right now. Sunday, expect scattered snow showers with patchy blowing snow before 11 a.m. Partly sunny with a high near just 38 degrees, again breezy, and the chance of precipitation is holding at 40% for Sunday. Sunday night, partly cloudy with a low around 18. Monday, sunny with a high near 40. Monday night, mostly clear with a low around 20. and Tuesday sunny with a high near 46. Tuesday night mostly cloudy with a low around 25. And now back to the news.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, when Colorado voters cast ballots in the upcoming primary election, they'll almost certainly face a smorgasbord of candidates spread across an unusually high number of races up and down the ballot. And for the first time, the state's unaffiliated voters there are slightly more of them than there are either Democrats or Republicans, will have a say in the outcome. The number of major candidates running to replace term-limited Governor John Hickenlooper is approaching double digits, with as many as 4 or 5 likely to qualify for each major party's primary ballot. There are also crowded races for state treasurer in both parties and for attorney general among the Democrats, as well as what's shaping up to be primaries in every one of the state's 7 congressional districts. Throw in a smattering of contests in legislative and other races, and most primary voters will be facing more choices than ever before. In the wake of the 2016 passage of Proposition 108, a ballot measure allowing unaffiliated voters to vote in either the Republican or Democratic primary without having to join either party, politicians and election officials are preparing for an influx of new voters in what have always been partisan affairs. Pundits, pollsters, and political consultants say common preconceptions about unaffiliated voters tend to be mistaken, and that those voters' participation in the election could influence the results in ways different than anticipated.
From the Durango Herald, photo from AP file. The U.S. government has awarded a Montana-based company a contract worth more than $73 million to design and build replacement fencing along 20 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border in southern New Mexico, officials confirmed Wednesday. Existing vehicle barriers west of the Santa Teresa port of entry will be replaced with taller bollard-style barriers under the contract awarded in January to Barnard Construction Company, Inc. Bollard walls typically consist of sturdy vertical posts that are spaced to provide visibility to the other side but are difficult to walk through. Regional Customs and Border Protection officials said there was no timeline for when work might start, and the construction company did not respond to email and phone requests inquiring about project details. News of the contract came after a federal judge in California sided this week with President Donald Trump on a challenge to building his promised border wall. The court rejected arguments that the administration overreached by waiving laws requiring environmental and other reviews before construction could begin. The administration has issued 3 waivers since August, 2 to build in parts of California and 1 in part of New Mexico. Work is already underway on a 30-foot high barrier in Calexico, California. As for the work planned at Santa Teresa near New Mexico state line with Texas, federal officials have said the area remains an active route for human smuggling and drug trafficking. Officers in the El Paso sector are responsible for a sprawling desert territory that spans a portion of West Texas and all of New Mexico. In recent days, officers working at the El Paso port of entry made nearly a dozen drug busts and seized 100 rounds of 9mm ammunition being smuggled south into Mexico. In 2016, officers in the sector arrested more than 25,000 immigrants suspected of trying to enter the country illegally and seized around 67,000 pounds of marijuana. While less marijuana was seized during the 2017 fiscal year, just as many arrests were recorded. In announcing plans to bolster barriers in the Santa Teresa area, Homeland Security Secretary Christian Nielsen said in a Federal Register notice posted in January that the goal was to deter illegal crossings. Bids from prospective contractors were solicited online prior to federal officials announcing in January that a waiver had been approved for the New Mexico project. Barnard Construction Company was among 3 bidders and was quietly announced as the winner January 23rd. While there is no indication of when work could begin, the contract calls for the project to be completed by February 16th of 2019.
According to the Durango Herald, new research calls into question what's in those IV bags that nearly every hospitalized patient gets. Using a different IV fluid instead of the usual saline greatly reduced the risk of death or kidney damage, 2 large studies found. The difference could mean 50,000 to 70,000 fewer deaths and 100,000 fewer cases of kidney failure each year in the U.S., researchers estimate. Some doctors are hoping the results will persuade more hospitals to switch. Kellum had no role in the studies, which were discussed Tuesday at a critical care conference in San Antonio and published by the New England Journal of Medicine. Federal grants helped pay for the work. IVs are one of the most common things in healthcare. They are used to prevent dehydration, maintain blood pressure, or give patients medicines or nutrients if they can't eat. Saline, salt dissolved in water, has been the most widely used fluid in the U.S. for more than a century, even as evidence has emerged that it can harm kidneys, especially when used a lot. Other IV solutions called balanced fluids include saline but also contain potassium and other things that make them more like plasma, the clear part of blood. They are widely used in Europe and Australia. The studies involved 28,000 patients at Vanderbilt University who were given IVs of saline or a balanced fluid. For every 100 person on balanced fluids, there was one fewer death or severe kidney problem. After seeing the results 2 months ago, Vanderbilt Hospital officials decided to primarily use balanced fluids. The University of Pittsburgh also has largely switched to them, Kellum said. The fluids cost about the same, $1 or $2 per IV, and many suppliers make both types, so switching should not be hard or expensive, doctors said.
From the Journal, at a workshop on Tuesday, the Cortez City Council agreed not to vote on a request to change the city code for retail marijuana licenses. City Clerk Linda Smith presented a request from a hopeful marijuana store owner asking the council to loosen the residency requirement for a pot license. Right now, business owners must have lived in Colorado for at least 2 years before applying for a retail marijuana license in Cortez in accordance with state regulations adopted in 2014. State law has changed since then to allow one-year residents to open dispensaries, but most council members said they saw no need to change the city code to match it. City Manager Shane Hale said he and the rest of the staff get almost daily requests from people who want to open dispensaries in Cortez, which is home to 5. The license for a 6th was approved earlier this month. I don't know that we really need to do a whole lot to incentivize or make it easier to open marijuana businesses here, Hale said. He added that loosening city regulations on marijuana would likely bring more applicants to town. City Attorney Mike Green said changing a rule in response to one person's request could harm the town's reputation in the long run. Several other council members agreed, including Mayor Karen Sheik, who said Cortez likely doesn't need another dispensary soon. The council members informally agreed not to bring the code change to a vote.
According to the Durango Herald, the Navajo Nation has canceled a planned wild horse hunt aimed at thinning a herd in an Arizona area after opponents of the hunt organized a protest against it. The tribe's Division of Natural Resources rescinded on Monday a proclamation declaring the 2018 feral horse management hunt designed to remove 60 horses from the Carrizo Mountains in northeastern Arizona, according to a notice on the Navajo Nation Department of Fish and Wildlife's website. Navajo Nation President Russell Begay said in a statement that the hunt will be postponed and the proclamation was rescinded to allow for public input and education, the Farmington Daily Times reported. There are more than 38,000 feral horses on Navajo Nation land, according to a 2016 study conducted by the Navajo Fish and Wildlife Department. Horse advocates, including members of the Facebook group Indigenous Horse Nation Protector Alliance, organized a rally for Friday in Window Rock, Arizona, to protest the hunt. Gloria Tom, the director of Navajo Nation Department of Fish and Wildlife, said the public outcry led to the cancellation. Navajo Nation Speaker Lorenzo Bates said in a statement that his office was not aware that the executive branch had made a decision to issue permits for hunting feral horses. If the hunt had not been rescinded, hunters accompanied by wildlife conservation officers would have been able to kill non-branded horses that were at least 2 years old. Hunters would have been prohibited from killing mares with foals. The proclamation called for removing up to 60 horses over a 6-day period.
Today's High Canyon Country happenings. March 3rd at the Wild Edge Brewing Collective in Cortez, Stillhouse Junkies play a delirious head-spinning mixture of original roots, blues, funk, swing, and bluegrass music. Be sure to come out and show the Stillhouse Junkies how much Montezuma County likes to dance. It's $5 cover, and they play from 7 to 9 p.m. March 3rd and 4th at Moab Klondike Bluffs, it's the Moab Off-Road Duathlon and Spring Trail Run. Don't miss this unique and fun event. Duathlon is an 8K trail run and a 13K mountain bike. The trail run is either an 8K or half marathon. Registration fees run from $75 to $153 for singles or teams, and there is a kids and beginners option as well. For more details, go online to trainingrx.com. And Ridgeway is kicking out the cold with a community bonfire Saturday, March 3rd. Come ski or snowshoe at Top of the Pines. Then join them, snow or shine, for a big bonfire. 5 p.m. tour of renovations at the pavilion, and 5:30 p.m. the fire's lit. Refreshments and hot drinks and family activities. Carpooling, four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive vehicles are encouraged. Event parking in pavilion lot. Bring a headlamp and warm clothing. Top of the Pines is a uniquely beautiful outdoor recreation environmental education center, event venue, and open space preserve located in Ouray County at the foot of the Sneffels Range. All of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the YouTube replays, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us by email at dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station 970-677-4119, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. News at Noon airs at noon Monday through Thursday and then is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. on each of those days. The weekday news shows are then replayed throughout the weekend as well.
And be sure to check us out on Facebook. It's DCTV News at Noon. Please like us there and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook with DCTV and the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.